Is the tide slowly turning? Has the establishment's tune changed a little bit when it comes to lockdowns and future pandemics? Because we are now hearing that if something like that happens again, the United Kingdom are going to be going with the Swedish model, like what they did in 2020, instead of mandatory lockdowns. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So there is a bit of an update from the British establishment, the experts, medical and scientific experts. Jenny Harries particularly is very outspoken on what could happen in the future if another pandemic happens, if another lockdown situation comes up. She has been impressed with the way the British population dealt with it the first time, or last time. So she's now indicating that we probably don't even have to go with mandatory lockdowns anymore. We could just look at what happened in places like Sweden. Interesting. So, and now Dame Jenny Harries, who's part of, in charge of the UK Health Agency, which is basically a new version of the previous organization. It's just entities changing their names to stay alive. But Jenny Harries was very proactive in her job during the first and second and third lockdowns and regional lockdowns and everything else that happened. She was also the one who, with Boris Johnson, the former Prime Minister, made a video back in, I believe, February or beginning of March 2020, before the lockdown. They made a video saying, oh, face nappies and coverings, they're not effective, don't use them. And then when they got the PPE contract sorted from China and everywhere else, somehow they said, oh, definitely wear a mask, definitely do that. Anyway, at this point, they are now considering to go with the Swedish model because Sweden realized they don't have to follow the rest of the herd, and they basically had a lot of guidance in place and people just followed them and people were just behaving like a normal person. And that was slightly, less oppressive than the rest of the Western world, what they had. So now she says, Jenny Harries, that what we saw with Omicron, oh yeah, I remember those days, and later waves of the pandemic, and even now, is that people are good at watching the data and they will take action themselves. You can see it in footfall going down. People actually start to manage their own socialization, and the viral waves flatten off and come down. And because of that, they're basically now saying, well, we as the UK Health Security Agency, we could probably not really push for any future mandatory lockdowns. Although this is the establishment, so one day they come and say something and then the next day things change and then they will completely change their advice. That happens. Anyway, the UK Health Security Agency said we are now going to be an exemplar, a new style civil service organization. One that is directly public-facing and where we work very openly and freely right across the government in that collaborative way that we saw through the pandemic. So as a government entity, these guys want to be more public-facing. So it could be a good and bad thing. It could be good because they could actually communicate directly with the people, but is that also a new way to manipulate the public? I don't know. So it could be a welcoming move, but I don't really trust any of them at this point. Now, Mark Dolan from GB News is excited, saying, oh, hello, we got there in the end with the Swedish flag emoji. I'm not going to get that excited because we know from the past that it's best not to get too excited because you're going to get disappointed when the situation changes and when the advice changes. And they have already been talking about various ideas, including climate lockdowns. So I don't really trust the people who call themselves experts and say, well, you have to trust us because we have the wisdom. If they come out and change a policy idea, especially when it comes to getting close to the election times, at this point, I no longer believe any of them. I know Jenny Harries is not in party politics, but that's not really the point. I'm talking about everything, about U-turns, everything about situations changing. For now, this is good news. For now. Well, let's not get too excited. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'm Tousi, and we are the media.